Welcome, everybody, to a brand new episode of the Outlaw Nation Show, here live from Los Angeles in the new offices of the Outlaw Nation. I am so excited to be in the new offices. I worked hard all weekend to make sure everything was set up correctly to my liking, and sure enough, here it is. And I couldn't be happier. The lights are up, the camera's up. Got a tripod from my girlfriend who set it up. She's a photographer. Had an old tripod lying around, perfectly set up for the camera. And so I am excited. We had to bring out the best. We had to kind of arrange everything because we got ourselves a very, very special guest tonight. I'm excited to welcome him onto the show. And in just a minute, we will bring him on and we'll just get this show going and have a blast. Remember, we're going to take your Streamlabs. We're going to take your super chat questions. We're going to talk about the news that was breaking about the Oscars. We're going to talk about film, the state of film now. We're going to talk about his new ventures, and we're going to talk about his new YouTube channel, little Star Trek action. And of course, it's Scott Mantz. So we got to talk about the Mantz Outlaw rivalry. That's going to be a lot of fun as well. But before we do that, let me bring in Wiley Todd to tell you all what's going to happen here and how you can be part of asking questions live later on in the show in that way. Go ahead, Wiley. Tell the folks. Tell the nice people.
Okay, so guys, this is the biggest video interview for me in my entire life. My two heroes on one stream. So I know you guys want to join the stream. It's very simple. If you guys are a Patreon member, you get the link 20 minutes into the show and you guys can join freely. It's free game right there for the Patreon members. They get in there and Rocha will bring those people in first. So just keep that in mind. But after that 20 minutes, you guys can join the stream. All I'm going to do is I'm going to put this link in chat, and then it's your guys'. You guys can join. If you have any questions, you can join through that. If you have any problems, do. And guys, I am begging you. Let's make this be the one that blows up the Outlaw Nation, okay? Join, ask questions, send it to people, like it, because this one's going to be great. And I've never seen Mantz on one of these shows. I haven't. So take your chance now. You never know if it couldn't happen again. Mantz is a big name out there in the movie world, so take that chance. I'm so hyped for this, guys. Hopefully you guys are hyped. Let's go, Outlaw Nation. Let's go right into the sunset, Rocha.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Thank you, Wiley, so much. Listen to him. He's going to post the address in the chat, so watch out for that. Don't forget Streamlabs Super Chats. Already dropped in that Larry Lee Super Chat saying just hit that like button. Incredible. We have almost 60 all in here already and 53 likes. That's what I like to see. As soon as you walk into this thing, just hit that like because you know it's going to be great. Thanks, Wiley. We'll talk to you a little bit later on in the stream. Appreciate you, brother. All right. Without further ado, let us introduce to you one of my boys from way back when, one of the gentlemen who I have been gifted to have an incredible relationship with. He is an American film critic, writer, producer, event moderator, Schmoedown legend. He is the recipient of the 2014 Press Award honoring outstanding entertainment in journalism from the ICG Publicists Guild. From 2000 to 2018, he was the resident film critic on Access Hollywood. You know him from For Your Consideration, Movie Review Talk, Collider Movie Talk, many appearances there. He's still doing his thing on KTLA TV5. He's always having a blast on that show, and it's always great to catch him on that show. And he also joined the board of directors at the San Diego International Film Festival in 2018. He's one of the best dudes you're ever going to meet, you're ever going to have some time with, and I'm excited to bring him on to the Outlaw Nation Show. Ladies and gentlemen, please, without further ado, welcome to the show one of the best people I know working today, and that is the great Scott Mantz. Mantz, how are you?
Yeah, but you know what? You should be my publicist. That was seriously the greatest intro I've ever had, like in the history of intros. And boy, you know, with everything you were marking off there, I gotta tell you the words Schmoedown legend.
Yeah.
That I don't know. That there's something about that Schmoedown legend that just hits me right in the heart. I love it. So thanks for having me on your show. This is really awesome and exciting. And how are you doing with this crazy times we live in these days, man?
Yeah, it's nutty, man. I mean, I kind of got a little bit of a head start through no desire of my own on this in January. So I kind of feel like I had developed a rhythm by the time all of this went down. So for me, I haven't really missed a beat in that way. I know for a lot of people, it's been tough to make the transition into like staying at home all the time and only going out for like really essential needs and things like that. But me focusing on building up the channel and creating content and doing all this research and work to make sure these shows are exciting and interesting for people to watch has really consumed me since like the end of January.
Yeah.
So for me, the transition hasn't been that bad. And then my girlfriend was furloughed. Lindley was furloughed from her job. And so she's just taking this time to build up her photography business. So we're both, kind of filling the time with what we both want to hopefully turn into our main sources of income. So it's in that way, it's not been a bad transition for us. And we still take our walks. We still will go out and occasionally grab a bit of a breakfast and then drive back home. So we do little things like that to keep us level. How are you dealing with it all?
Well, it's interesting. I've been freelancing, self-employed now for about a little more than 2 years.
Yeah.
And, I felt really proud that I was able to make it on my own, without having to work for after more than 17 years, 17 and a half years with a big show, national show like Access Hollywood, I was doing okay. I was doing my own thing. I was only doing the work I wanted to do. But I was self-employed, and the last time I really worked on something was the weekend of March 7th. And the following week, I was supposed to go to Austin for South by Southwest. I was be on a panel there and do some work there for KTLA Channel 5. And then the following week, I had a whole bunch of Q&As lined up. And it all stopped. All of it stopped. Now, the hardest thing really has been that, a lot of my friends, they work for big companies, or even if they're still working, they're working from home, but they're still getting paid. They're still, maybe they took a little bit of a pay cut. Maybe they've been furloughed with they're going to go back to work. But, if I don't work, I do not get paid at all.
Yeah.
And my livelihood is contingent on movies, on reviewing movies, on moderating stuff in theaters, and all of it's gone, all of it's shut down. And so it's funny that you mentioned how at the end of January you had a head start to really get into your own channel and everything like that. And doing my own channel on YouTube is something I always wanted to do, for years and years and years, but I just never had the time to do it. And I was always doing stuff for other people, whether it was Access or KTLA or Collider or Screen Junkies, Schmoedown, Profiles, whatever it was. But I was doing stuff for other people, not doing my own thing. I was, I was too busy. I don't have time to, start my own channel. And, my motive for starting my own thing is not because I really wanted to start my own thing. It was more because I just wanted to figure out how to cut and edit my own stuff.
Smart.
That was something I really always wanted to do. And, the type of editing I was doing at Access was like on a big Avid system, not something I could do from home, but at least, I'm learning how to edit my own content, and cut things together. And that's really where it's at for me in terms of like my motive for doing my own thing. But I'm also adapting, I can't do in theater things, but, and I can't go into the studio for Channel 5, but they've been, I've been Skyping in every Friday and I pick up the stream, and some of the moderating has been gravitated to virtual Q&As, which I, can obviously do because I'm doing this with you now, but I just miss going to the movies.
I know. It's such a weird trend. I mean, like, that's the thing that you never know. Because you can't miss something until it's taken away from you without your, decision on it, or you're deciding to get it taken away from you. All of a sudden, like the idea of sitting in a nice, even a crappy cushion chair to watch a movie, to have some popcorn and hang out with other people and say hi to everybody at a screening. all of that being taken away all of a sudden is a tough transition, and having to watch stuff from home. And look, it's fun to watch stuff from home, certainly, but there are other ones that you really kind of get the best out of when you're in a theater. There's just nothing that replaces that experience. So it's so fascinating, Scott. It seems to I think we've all had conversations about what's going to happen to cinema. Less and less of those independent films, less and less of those medium budget films are being patronized by fans or by moviegoers. And at some point, it's just going to be the big films that are going to be in the theaters, and maybe the occasional smaller film. Now it feels like that timetable has absolutely taken a leap year, or has jumped leap years, almost a warp speed. It's jumped into the future here, where now it seems like this is almost inevitability. What do you think about that?
Well, that is a loaded question, my friend, and that is definitely. Well, first of all, going back to like what you said about missing something when it's gone.
Yeah.
So, going to these press screenings, these all media screenings, seeing like you and seeing everyone, all the usual suspects that we all know, that we see at all these events and all these screenings, and getting there early and literally making the rounds and saying hello to everybody is something I really, really, really look forward to. And the last time I was able to do that, the last press screening that I went to on the big screen was The Invisible Man. What was yours?
Yeah, it's The Invisible Man. I went to see it that Monday night. John Luca, I reached out to him and was like, hey, I really want to go. I heard there's a screening, blah, blah. He's like, all right, you can go. And man, it was a great film. I tweeted about it afterwards, right? It's so damn good. But what a way to go out.
First of all, The Invisible Man was... Can I swear?
Yeah, of course.
Fucking amazing. I mean, it was fantastic. But I mean, here in a lot of ways, okay, I see The Invisible Man as the Get Out of 2020.
Wow.
Okay? Here's why. First of all, it opened the same exact weekend that Get Out opened.
Yes.
In 2017. It was the last weekend in February in 2017. Get Out opened. And that weekend in 17 was the weekend of the Academy Awards.
Right.
So, it's the same weekend. It's a Universal movie. Both are Universal movies.
Yep.
Both are Blumhouse pictures that cost hardly anything at all. Mm-hmm. Get Out cost $5 million. Invisible Man cost $7 million.
Yeah.
And both movies were so clever and smart and so well written and well directed. And both movies were about something. They were just like Get Out was about intolerance and about racism and stereotyping. The Invisible Man was very much tapped into the Me Too movement.
Yeah.
Here's a woman who was saying that she's being harassed and nobody believes her. So there's a lot to be said about that. Elizabeth Moss was great.
My God.
For a movie based on a Universal monster, with all the bandages around him, I mean, it was so scary. Yeah. Like, after I saw that film, I thought, I'm never going to look at an empty doorway. right?
Yeah.
Like you're sitting there. Like, I remember when I got home that night, and I was like just crashing out, on my chair, just read my emails, and I looked up at the entrance to my bedroom, open doorway, and I'm staring at it, and I freaked out. I totally got freaked out. But yeah, that okay. So everyone's talking about, on all the entertainment websites and everybody, all the, people like us, the pundits, we're all trying to figure out what's going to happen when theaters reopen again.
Right.
And, it's going to be a new normal. What is that going to look like?
Right.
So here's why I don't think independent film is going to disappear. Because first of all, I'm going back to what it was like in 2001, right after 9/11 happened. Mm-hmm. Everyone said that at that time in 2001, that, the landscape of entertainment is never going to be the same. Right. People aren't going to be able to go back to the movies and watch dumb movies. And, how you're going to cover like red carpets and fashion and, reality TV is going to go away. So this was in 2001. And in the years that followed, reality TV just like blew up with the likes of Real Housewives and The Bachelorette and, some of these other Kardashians.
Yeah. Survivor, all that stuff. Yeah.
So now, we're like, when are theaters going to reopen? And of course, a lot of big budget movies like Black Widow, Fast and Furious 9, Top Gun, all those movies have moved off into late 2020 or most likely into 2021.
Right.
So I think what's going to happen when theaters finally do reopen, okay, that's still going to be a couple months away.
Yeah,
okay?
At least.
When they do reopen, I think that initially, maybe for a couple weeks, people are going to be a little nervous about going. And, because we've been holed up in our houses for months now, for months. So they're going to be like nervous about it. And maybe they'll wear a mask. Maybe they won't. Maybe they'll shake someone's hand. Maybe they won't. But they're probably going to be very, very gun shy. But what's going to happen is once people see that like the coast is clear and everything is fine, you're going to have like whiplash with how fast the theaters will once again be crowded with people. I think everyone's just going to just sort of like wait and see how it is when the theaters do reopen. But once that happens, the turnaround with getting people back in seats and initially you might have some social distancing, every other seat, every other row. But again, I think that once the coast is clear, that too will change. And you're going to have sold out screenings at the ArcLight Cinerama Dome.
Yeah.
And, it will be back to normal in that respect. And I think there's going to be so much hunger for new product that they're going to show these independent movies to get something in the theaters.
Yeah, that's a fair point, right? Because right now, and the AMC came out with that statement a few days ago, and they said, we're not going to open until July because we don't have any product to put out there. So for us, it just makes all the more sense to just wait till Christopher Nolan's Tenet and then the next week, Disney's Mulan to come out to see if there's any kind of money. But my concern is this, and I think you raise a great point, Scott. Absolutely. As soon as people sense that the coast is clear, they're going to come in droves. But it's just like Jaws, right? As soon as that first few people get in the water, then everyone's like, oh, yeah, I guess it is fine. And then, boom, a kid gets eaten by the shark. So that's what you worry. You worry about the fact that if there's a second wave of this, will this completely shut everything down? And then we're really in a complete, like a super bankruptcy, loss of businesses, loss of movie theaters, everything just going to streaming now, except for the big blockbuster films, which will only come out in certain ways. I just wonder if that could be a possibility as well. That's my concern, because I don't want to lose movie theaters. I don't want to lose movies, and I don't want to lose the movie-going experience. So much of our lives we spend kind of distancing ourselves already, alienating ourselves already. Communal experiences are rarer and rarer nowadays. Right, exactly. The phone, but communal experiences are rarer and rarer. So the theater is one of those places. Sporting arenas are one of those places, concerts, where you can go and feel the people around you in unison enjoying what you're enjoying. And I think as human beings, we need that to survive. Yeah.
And listen, when I'm reading the news, I read the LA Times like 6 times a day. Really, the LA Times, their coverage of this has been really essential to anyone. It's been fantastic.
Yeah.
So it's weird. It's like they're posting articles that the number of people infected with it have passed 1 million, and so many people died in LA last week. And then right next to it, there's an article about certain governors opening the beaches, and and it's like, what? Like what are you doing?
It's incongruent. Yeah,
it just makes no sense that you can have. Well, on one hand, they're saying stay home and just, don't do anything. And on the other hand, they're saying, oh, we're trying to outline a plan to, reopen.
Yeah.
And, but I kind of feel like you do, is that unless it disappears completely, all it takes is one person to start infecting everybody else again, and before you know, we're back to this situation. Which really be bad, because if you start to ease up restrictions and people start going out again and everything like that, and then boom, it happens again, there's a second wave and it's worse, and you got to shut down again. I think people are really going to not be very patient with that. I think the best thing that can happen, of course, is that there is a vaccine.
Right.
And, that would certainly solve everything.
And we'll see. I mean, obviously we'll see as it goes down, but I also think there's, and let's move away from the kind of sad part of the thing, but there's a possibility that this is exactly what we needed. Everybody to take a break or take a breath. Don't you think, Scott? Like, the fandom was getting so volatile. Some of the fans were getting so volatile, and it was getting poisonous, the interaction between critics and fans or film goers, and this trying to destroy one, accusing one of trying to destroy their movie or purposely trying to sink their movie. Both ways, it was becoming too toxic of an atmosphere to be around. And I think since this has happened, that has really died for the most part. And you see now critics and fans kind of communicating online on social media about films that they're discovering again while they're home. So maybe if there's any kind of silver lining, and they're, obviously without disregarding or discounting the deaths and the people who've been infected by this and the casualties, one of the positives may be that people kind of take a step back and go back to their neutral corners and maybe rethink of the approach again, because they almost lost something they really love.
Well, everyone's reacting to this a little differently. And I definitely think that in terms of the existential crisis that this is causing a lot of people to have about their purpose, look, my purpose is talking about movies, reviewing movies, championing movies. I want to champion. Critic is a word that I look at people like Roger Ebert, Leonard Maltin, like they're critics. Right. I like to think of myself as a champion of film. Most likely, I will review a film if I either like it or love it. If I don't like it, I'm like, well, who cares? Nobody really, unless it's a big film.
Right.
I'm not going to watch an independent movie, not like it, go on social media or write a review to say, don't see a movie that is going to have trouble finding an audience anyway. I'm picky. I'm really careful with that. But as a result of losing not only my livelihood here, but my purpose, and it's made me think about well, what do I want to do with the rest of my life? So, for 30 years, I've been, very, very, very blessed and fortunate to work in a business that I love. I've been sort of made a career out of a hobby, whether it was Star Trek or movies. And I'm very, very, I feel lucky that I've been able to do that. But I also go, wait a minute, I'm 51. What's really what is, given the landscape of the business and how this is going to affect the business, what can I really realistically do to make a decent living doing what I love or even like moving forward? Is it this, on one hand, while I'm really happy and proud that I've been able to survive on my own, without being really attached to a brand, I, was my own person doing my own thing. And that was great. But then something like this happens and you realize how fragile that foundation is. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
I was, what I was doing before was great, but it was a hustle. I was working hard to put myself out there. And now when this comes back, I got to start all over again, there were other things that were sort of in the works for me that came to a halt in March. And I'm hoping that they pick up again after all this passes. But there's no guarantee that that'll happen. So what do I do in the meantime? Those are the kinds of questions I'm asking myself, because I love what I do. I love, I love when I was on, your show Mailbag. And I'm grateful that you're having me on your show now. And, I loved, being able to go on like the Schmoedown and have fun with my movie knowledge.
Right.
And, go on, I was able to do broadcast, online, written, all that stuff, but really like what's next? And nobody knows anything. We just got to wait and see what happens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We just got to see.
Yeah, but I will say this. If I know Scott Mantz has always landed on his feet. And Scott Mantz always worries, but Scott Mantz always lands on his feet. So I've never seen Scott Mantz not find a way to land on his feet, find a way to figure it out. So to me, I would tell you, as a man who's known you for a few years, an observer here, I got no problem having absolute faith in you that you'll figure it out. It'll present itself to you and you'll go forward with it and take all these fans with you who love you so madly and really enjoy the fact that you do that one thing that you just mentioned, Scott, champion films, the medium of film and the films themselves. And I think that's an essential part. And you're right, critic. I agree. I think that's what I can't call. I just have a really hard time calling myself a critic. I'm a pundit or a reviewer. A critic, I'm not. Critic is for Pauline Kael or Ebert or, Siskel. Even McWeeny, I would say, is a critic because of how he analyzes films, or Bibbs, Bibiani, just incredible analysis of films. But, we're pundit, we're reviewers, and it's a different ball game for us. And I think once you come back, that energy you have, the positive energy, that's what people want to have in these theaters with these Q&As and these experiences. So I think you're going to be just fine, but it's totally correct to be going like, okay, well, what do I do just in case? Or what is there out there just in case? Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
Listen, when you're something happens and you got to adapt.
Yeah.
And you got to be resourceful. And listen, when you go through a lot of change at once, you grow. I mean, you learn how to take care of yourself.
Exactly.
For a long, long time, between the Access job and the job I had before that, I was working for a company for 28 years straight,
Right.
In these last 2 years, I've been really on my own, and I feel like I've, grown more in the last 2.5 years than I did, probably at any other time in my life, because I don't have the a big company to take care of me. I have to take care of myself. Yeah. And I mean, I hope you're right. I hope I land on my feet, but it's whatever happens. I mean, whenever I find myself worrying about, well, when are the theaters going to reopen? What's going to happen with like the fall film festivals, like Telluride and Toronto? Am I going to go? Am I not going to go? Who knows? Right. Whenever I start to, get in my head and start to be like, oh my God, what's going to happen? I just go, calm down.
Yeah.
Calm down. Just wait. And I know that I'm going to speak for you when I say this.
Yeah.
Johnny, but when I start to get a little anxious, I say to myself, are you ready?
Okay, I'm listening.
What would Kirk do?
Great point. It's coming. It's coming.
First of all, we're talking about the guy who came up with the turbo mic maneuver.
That's right.
Kirk would figure it out.
It's coming through now, Con. It's coming through now. Thank you all. You're sending in some Streamlabs and super chats. Let me take a quick moment to highlight them. Larry Lee says, my work at a theater is allowed to open on Friday, but is holding off for a while. Probably smartly so, because like Scott said, there's not a lot of content to put in those theaters. So what's the point of opening if no one is going to go? We had another one come through here. Mukbang Review says, sorry if I missed it before, but is Universal or AMC correct about movies going straight to video on demand? Also, should movies on video on demand be considered for Oscars or not? Thanks for your voices and work. Well, this is an interesting question. The Mukbang asks Scott. Some stuff broke over the last few hours here. The Hollywood Reporter reporting that the Oscars this morning on a 2-hour conference call, Zoom call, isn't what everybody's doing, decided that they're going to loosen up the restrictions on streaming films being in the running for Oscars. They no longer have to screen for a week in Los Angeles. And so this now opens the door to what Netflix was trying to make happen for the last couple of years. Now, all of a sudden, it's happening. It's only a 1-year exemption for these rules. But what do you think about this overall?
Well, I'm glad that we're doing the show now, just a couple hours after all this.
I know, me too.
Academy. There was a lot of breaking news after this board meeting this morning. But when I was reading the bit, about how the qualifications changed, and it doesn't have to be in theaters, it could stream online, that's fine. Yeah. And I thought, what if this was happening last year? Would that have given a movie like The Irishman a better chance to go further at the Oscars? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it's certainly possible. I mean, because Netflix had to put it out for a certain number of weeks, and then people heard about it. And then by the time they did, other movies had come into the forefront to kind of take the attention away from The Irishman. And I wonder if it would have done better streaming wise. I just think overall, Netflix must be extremely happy right now to have this situation happen, because we don't know when the theaters are going to come back. As you said, they're looking at possibly July. And then today, as well, the video on demand numbers were released for Trolls World Tour, and Universal said we can't wait to put the movies out at the same time as they're coming out on video on demand. And then AMC's president just responded about an hour or 2 hours ago and said we're no longer going to screen Universal movies that do that in our theaters. And it's like, whoa, what does this mean? So it's all becoming very dramatic now out into the film world.
Well, it is, and the Universal, so I think the article said that Trolls World Tour made, grossed over $100 million by that VOD test. So that's good.
Yes.
And that was a perfect movie to test the waters with, because again, it wasn't Fast and Furious 9. Right. It was a family movie. Like, if you're going to try out the VOD with anything, doing it with an animated film, a family film, the timing was actually just right for Trolls World Tour. But they also announced yesterday, I think, that the Pete Davidson movie by Judd Apatow is going to drop on VOD on, I think, June 12th. Mm-hmm. And Lovebirds with Kumail Nanjiani was supposed to be in theaters at the beginning of April. Yeah. So that's now going to stream exclusively on Netflix on May 20th or May 22nd. Right. So I think, generally speaking, again, this goes back to what I was saying before, John. I don't think that when all this is over, that theaters are going to change their way of thinking. Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe more movies will go to VOD, video on demand. Right. But again, you're not going to see the next Star Trek movie. You're not going to see Star Wars Episode 10. That's not going to happen. I mean, there's no way. That's why they pushed back Top Gun, Maverick. They pushed back Black Widow. Yeah. They're moving the release dates of movies that haven't even started filming, like this next Spider-Man movie. Right. They pushed that into 2022. Yeah. So they're saying what they're saying now. But I think that once people are back out in theaters and doing all that stuff again, occasionally you'll see some movies, maybe like mid-range movies that cost 20 or 30 million. Right. Maybe they'll go on VOD, yeah. But also, how much, I mean, you see all the protests, people want to get the hell out of their home.
Yeah, they do. They do. Not everyone's an introvert. They really want to get the hell out of their homes.
They want to get out. And after all this is done, or hopefully it'll happen sooner rather than later. But however long it takes however long it takes, and we got to be smart and stay home and be, do what you're doing, social distance, all of it. But once it is finished, people are going to be like, I'm out of here.
Some Streamlabs have come in here. Chris Hall donated. He said, can my girlfriend Kylie get a shout out? Mantz style. John Rocha and Scott Mantz are the best. Chris Hall, can he get can his girlfriend Kylie get a shout out from Mantz style?
His girlfriend, what's her name?
Kylie.
Hey, Kylie. Yeah.
I love it. Let's see. Soulshard 1999 said some of the best Cinephiles episodes have featured the Mantz Man. I thoroughly agree. What film would you love to do next with John and Steve? Scott, quickfire question. Also, will Dune beat Blade Runner 2049's box office? Great two questions. Yeah. What film would you want to do next with us? And will Dune beat Blade Runner 2049 at the box office?
I have to say, and I know I've said this to you just face to face over the last couple years, but the best conversations that I've had in an official capacity about film, about movies, have been with you and Steve Morris on the Cinephiles.
You're too kind, man. Thank you.
If we could take an 87-minute like A Hard Day's Night, turn that into a 3-hour conversation. That's what Cinephiles is all about.
Yep.
And, I think we each bring different perspectives, and you've really, welcomed me with open arms onto Cinephiles, and to be able to talk about like my favorite movies, like Close Encounters and Blade Runner and Hard Day's Night, Wrath of Khan, really has and I still get some people hitting me on social media. Oh man, I just listened to your Cinephiles on that. Great, So yeah, but the question is, what's next?
Yeah,
that is a great question. Someone recommended just the other day that you guys, since you did Blade Runner, Blade Runner 2049, and I got to tell you, Blade Runner 2049 is as good as Blade Runner.
Agreed.
It is.
Agreed.
Amazing. It is amazing. And Denis Villeneuve, who, he did so great with Arrival and Prisoners, and Sicario. He's just a fantastic director. He could make a sequel to Blade Runner and have it be just as good as Blade Runner. I mean, that was amazing. Well, you guys have done a lot of movies.
We have,
What have you not done that you would want to do?
I think we have to finish the Star Trek conversation. I think we have to do Undiscovered Country. I'm cool not doing Voyage Home, but we might want to do Undiscovered Country. That could be a fun one, because that one's slowly become my number 2 favorite Star Trek film ever, right behind Khan.
If I was going to do a Star Trek movie, Undiscovered Country's great. I think that'd be a great one to do. I would actually motion to do Star Trek 2009.
The J.J. Abrams. Done.
Yeah, because I am absolutely a big fan of that film. I thought that it was different, that it was positive.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. So Star Trek 2009 came out right after the recession.
Yes.
Okay. And there was a lot,
interesting.
people were losing their jobs.
Right.
We were in a recession.
Yep.
And things were bleak and people were not happy. And here's a movie that is a very bright, shiny, positive look at the future. It was super, super fun. And that you can have Chris Pine and Zachary Quinto play these characters, our boys.
Yeah.
And it's such a great job. I just thought they knocked it out of the park. I mean, it's different, and the story was a little contrived. Kirk sat in that seat really fast.
Yes.
But I prefer Star Trek 2009 over Star Trek Discovery.
Okay. I think that's the official word. Scott Mantz, we're tying you down to that Star Trek 2009. The next time you come on the Cinephiles, no doubt. Real quick, do you think Blade Runner 2049 or do you think Dune? Which one win the box office? Which one do better? Do you think Dune will do better than 2049 did?
I think they'll probably do about the same.
Ooh,
because Blade Runner, while the original Blade Runner is widely hailed as one of the greatest, one of the most influential science fiction movies ever made, along with like 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yeah.
You know, the sequel didn't do great. I think it made like maybe 75 million domestic.
Right.
And it cost a whole lot more than that. I mean, if obviously worldwide it did oh gee, I wish I knew all this off the top of my head. Anyone watching, go to Box Office Mojo and let us know how much Blade Runner 2049 made worldwide.
There you go.
It okay, but it didn't do great. The production company, did not, make a ton of money off of it.
Right.
But I think, Dune is kind of like Blade Runner. Like people, big sci-fi buffs, love the book. Maybe they like the movie that David Lynch directed. I thought it was okay. I thought it was a little boring, but at the time I thought that about the original Blade Runner. But I think that Blade Runner's aged a lot better than Dune. But I think comparing apples to apples here, because you're having Denis Villeneuve, who will directed both, I think they'll probably make about the same. I don't see Dune becoming like a $300 million domestic hit. It's not going to make $1 billion worldwide. What do you think?
I don't disagree with you. I think that's true. I think Villeneuve movies, you hit the cap with Villeneuve. Villeneuve is one of these mainstream art house filmmakers. So you can't expect $200 million or $100 million openings. They're just not in his makeup as a director in the pop culture mainstream mindset. When they look at a director like Denis Villeneuve, they're not rushing out to see his movies. His movies are contemplative. They are dark. They are slow for some people, and they get to where they're going to get to when they're going to get to it. And so I think a lot of people don't necessarily enjoy that. That's why Blade Runner 2049 is still such a divisive film for some people, because it is a masterpiece for a lot of us. And for other people, they thought it was overreaching or contrived or took too long. And it's a taste thing. And I don't think Denis is like Spielberg or George Lucas. He's a completely just full-on art house filmmaker operating with mainstream box office tools.
I got to tell you, when I saw Blade Runner 2049 for the first time, I went in and I tell you where it was. It was at the Dolby screening room on Alameda, close to Warner Brothers and Disney. And I was speechless when that movie was over. Like the publicist was like right outside the theater and she was like, "What'd you think?" I said, "I need to sleep on it." Just because I was like completely floored. Oh, by the way, say hi to Snowflake the carrot.
Oh, hi Snowflake. Oh, so cute.
Okay, Snowflake, get out.
So cute. Oh my God.
I love these at-home things, huh?
That's awesome.
but no, I think I'm excited about Dune because Denis Villeneuve is directing it, not because I liked. I didn't really like that 1984 film too much. But I did. I've seen Blade Runner 2049 quite a few times now, and every time I see it, I'm floored by it. Wait, hang on one second. Hang on one second.
Sure.
Hang on one second. Just a little bit of sunshine coming in here, and I think we're good. I think I'm good. I think that's yes, that's probably
there. You go.
Okay, good.
All right, let's keep answering some more of these, and then we'll move on to talk about Star Trek with you, brother. I know a lot of people are waiting to do that. Drunken Prayer said, I discovered Mantz through Screen Junkies. Do you have a favorite movie fights moment or argument, Scott? Also, sorry, Rocha, I love the exchange, but I can't wait to see Mantz take Bateman to school in the exhibition match. Of course, that's the Schmoedown, I think, movie release dates exhibition match that's coming up.
Let's be honest, Johnny.
Yeah.
The only category that I'm good at on the Schmoedown is movie release dates.
And Star Trek. I think those two.
Star Trek and maybe Oscars.
Yeah, sure. Oscars.
that's why I haven't really done the Schmoedown, is because I'm really not good at it. Release dates.
Yeah.
My favorite. Oh, well, okay. I have one argument that stands out to me that I loved, and it was actually on TV Fights that was hosted by Roxy.
Yeah.
So I was fighting Dan Murrell, who was a big trekker like us.
Yep.
And also on the fight was Brandon Braga, who was the executive producer of Next Generation and also Voyager.
Wow.
And now he's executive producing the Orville, which between Star Trek Discovery and the Orville feels more like Star Trek, than Star Trek Discovery. So the question was, what was the greatest time travel episode or film ever across any of the shows or any of the movies?
Wow.
So Dan picked Cause and Effect from the Next Generation.
Right.
Brandon picked The Inner Light from the Next Generation.
Right.
And of course, what do you think I picked?
City on the Edge of Forever.
Yes, sir.
That's the one.
That is the one. That is the one. First of all, City on the Edge of Forever is the greatest episode of Star Trek ever made. It is hands down, right?
Yep.
It is the Citizen Kane of Star Trek.
You slid it in there. I love it. Oh, yes.
So yeah, of course I picked City on the Edge of Forever, and I think maybe they threw me a bone because someone was going to pick that. So the arguments that they gave, I won't get too into it, but I felt like The Inner Light wasn't a time travel episode.
Oh,
because Picard was he lived out his life as another person.
Right.
So that's not time travel. And Cause and Effect, which is the episode that begins where the Enterprise explodes.
Yeah.
It's like kind of like Groundhog Day. They keep reliving the same day and they have to figure out what's causing the Enterprise to explode.
Right.
But they were in a loop. It wasn't a time travel episode.
Right.
They didn't go somewhere. They in the same moment over and over again. So with City on the Edge of Forever, Dr. McCoy, out of his mind, goes back in time, messes up the future.
Yeah.
Kirk and Spock go back in time to set right what McCoy did wrong and restore the future. That's time travel.
Yep.
And the stakes were huge because if they failed, then the Enterprise wouldn't exist. Starfleet, the Federation wouldn't exist.
Yeah.
The Nazis would have won the Second World War. Those are pretty big stakes.
Right.
But Kirk has to sacrifice his love for Edith Keeler to restore the future. Oh, man. God damn, that's a good
Nothing beats Kirk being stopped by Spock and having to watch it and turning away out of pain because he knows it has to happen for all this other stuff to go around. It's so brilliant. It's almost reminiscent of Avengers Endgame when they talk about, I don't know how you feel about this, when they talk about it doesn't have emotional stakes. The end of that movie is one person sacrificing himself so that everyone else can survive. And it's like crazy, man.
Avengers Endgame was another film where, like, while the movie was going along, watching that movie for the first time, I just was like, this movie is amazing. Like they did it. Like they really made a very satisfying, emotionally effective, final chapter to this 22 film series. Avengers Endgame is like the Russo brothers are gods.
It's the Citizen Kane of the MCU. Let's see. Andrew Hale sent in something too. He said, question for Mantz, assuming no dates are moved, what is your most anticipated movie of 2020? Mine is from the best working director. Now, also another vote, Denis Villeneuve's Dune. What are you looking for? Is there one movie that you're, if everything keeps on schedule and we open up in July, what is the one movie you're looking forward to seeing this year?
Well, I would say Christopher Nolan's Tenet. Because, I mean, he has never made a bad movie. And what I like about Nolan is that he's like Villeneuve. He makes movies that he wants to make.
Yes.
And he makes movies that are sophisticated, smart, challenging, and he does not dumb his movies down for the audience. He expects the moviegoer to rise to his level. But I also, being a big fan of Spielberg, I'm really curious and excited to see what he does with West Side Story.
Yeah. I'm nervous, as a Latino. The fact that it's not a Latino directing it, because we already had a non-Latino direct the first one, and it won Oscars, and it's incredible, no doubt. But I was hoping to have a Latino direct this one and see what come about. But Spielberg is incredible, and so you want to see what he does with it. And if it's another Oscar-winning, a film that updates the material and makes it feel as vibrant as the 1960 film did, then I'll be okay with that.
But listen, Spielberg, I love Spielberg, but I don't. My love for Spielberg is not absolute.
Yeah.
If he doesn't make a good movie, I'll say it, but movie wasn't very good. I was not a fan of Ready Player One. And I did like Bridge of Spies. I think we sat next together in that.
I think so, yeah.
Lincoln was a history lesson. But I love AI. I think AI is a misunderstood movie. I love Minority Report. I think when he challenges himself, I think he's great. But look, I hope that Tenet and the West Side Story, I hope we get to see them in theaters.
Yeah, me too. Andrew Hale says Dunecast will pull more numbers, but not by much. So pretty much agreeing with what we felt about this thing as well. Let me see if I've got a couple more here. Okay. Mayra M says, when the movie industry recovers, will the Academy restrict eligibility again for Oscar consideration, or is this the Pandora box for the industry? Good question.
Well, I think from what I read in the last hour before we started the show today, that the conditions in which they change them are contingent on the conditions that we're now facing.
Right.
I think that when it does go back, they'll probably reinforce some of those earlier restrictions about it has to play on the big screen for a week in LA, that kind of thing. But there are other things that are changing, like this is the last year that those DVD screeners are going to be sent out.
Right.
Those are going away. And what did you think of the news that they're combining the category, sound mixing and sound editing, into one category?
To be honest with you, I don't know if I can have an opinion on it, because that's not an area of the field that I know that well. So I would have to hear from some sound editors and some sound mixers and people involved in the sound design to hear what they think, if they're happy about it. Because if they're happy about it, then I'm cool with it. But if they're unhappy about it, then it feels like they purposely targeted that particular area of filmmaking and felt like, it doesn't get that much attention during the Oscars, or this is the ratings when they dip when you bring this award up. And so there might be a bit of pushback or anger at that, or backlash at that decision. But, I know they want to, they're just desperate for these ratings, Scott, and they're trying to do anything possible and reducing the number of awards and all that, and go hostless, all this. In the end of the day, I just think stop doing that. Just let the award ceremony be the award ceremony. If you can show me the Republican National Convention and the Democratic National Convention without commercials, and it's not a lot of people are watching those things, then you can't tell me that you can't dedicate one night to the Oscars where maybe you lose a little bit of money. You put a bunch of crappy TV shows out,
Every time people complain, the Oscars are too long, I don't care. I don't care. You can have the Oscars be 6 hours long.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit. I just love the Academy Awards.
Yep.
All that, when you think about it, you have all these other award shows like the SAG Awards, the Golden Globes, the Critics' Choice, whatever. But ultimately, all anyone cares about is the Oscars.
Yeah.
When Bong Joon-ho won Best Director for Parasite, it's going to say, from Academy Award winner Bong Joon-ho on his for his next movie. That's gold.
It's cachet, man.
Gold.
Yeah.
I love the Oscars.
Me too, brother. When did the joke of you being Hal's dad start? When did that start? And Mayra M wants to ask.
Wait a minute. Hang on. This is not a joke. I really am. Here's what happened. So I guess it was like 2014 or so when I started doing work with the Schmoes, Christian and Mark. So people started like chiming in, and especially on Twitter, like, wow, you remind me of Hal Rudnick at Screen Junkies. And I never met Hal Rudnick at Screen Junkies.
Wow. Okay.
I didn't know who he was.
Right.
And, but then, like, the people in our circle were like, yeah, man, you really do kind of remind, you don't look like him, but you act like him. Your personalities are very similar. So, so I finally met him. It might have been at like San Diego Comic-Con. And I went, oh, okay. Now I get it. But of course, he has dark hair and I, white hair. Right. So I'm Hal's dad.
I love it.
We've been, going off a bit on Father's Day last year.
It's the best. Buck Review says Snowflake is beautiful, but most cats have an attitude. I love both dogs and cats. Yeah, they're supposed to have an attitude. Yeah.
Well, hang on. On that note, wait. Hey, come here. Okay, this is Max.
Oh,
Max, dog. Isn't he cute?
Oh, so cute. Look at him.
Look at him. Isn't he cute? Say hi, Max. Max the dog.
Hi, Max.
Max, say hi to each other. Max. Oh, he's growling at you.
Oh, of course.
Okay.
That's so cute.
Max.
That's all. We're going to jump into some Star Trek talk. First, I'm going to bring in a couple of people who've been waiting to ask you a question live. Scott, let's bring Andrew G in. What's going on, man? How are you?
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Good. Hey, what's your question for Scott?
Well, first, I just want to say again, John and Scott, thanks for all the content you guys are putting up during all this shit. It's really helping a lot of people, I think, especially me. Like, I'm having a bit of a hard time last couple of weeks or so, but, we're getting through it. So your shows really help with that.
Thank you, man.
Some great entertainment and conversations. It's cool to take part in that. Another thing is here's Akira.
Oh,
big boy.
I love it.
And I guess someone beat me to it. Scott, please go back on Cinephiles. Those are my favorite episodes.
Yeah.
I love the Star Trek one. And I was having a hard time coming up with a question because I was like, oh my God, Scott Mantz is coming on. I don't know what to say. But Rocha, I've been diving in really deep into all the samurai stuff lately.
Oh yeah.
I finished Lone Wolf and Cub the other day.
The entire series.
Wow. I crushed all 6 in like 2 days. I couldn't stop. They're so good. Daigoro is the coolest fucking kid there ever was.
Oh yeah.
So I guess my question would be like, Mantz, I don't know how much you're into that kind of stuff, like the older samurai Japanese movies like Rocha is, but I guess my question would be like, if you have a favorite of any of them, if you're into that, what are they? And if it's if any are not Kurosawa, to make it a little harder. And Rocha, if you have a favorite that's not Kurosawa too, but I think
the Samurai trilogy is untouchable, and I would say House of Zen is incredible as well, and Jesus, what was the other one I was just thinking? 13 Assassins is for the Takeshi Miike. 13 Assassins is a phenomenal film. Scott, are you into samurai films at all? Is that, you jazz?
Just Kurosawa. Okay, I mean, he's like the man.
Yeah.
But I'm not really into samurai movies.
Is there a foreign film director that you like, Scott, that you like turn to or you enjoy? Is there a foreign film director like that you've got?
Well, I mean, Francois Ozon, I really like a lot.
Oh, okay.
He is a very prolific director.
Mm-hmm.
Most people probably know Francois Ozon. He did a movie about 15 years or so ago called The Swimming Pool, which is a terrific thriller.
Right.
But it just, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
like
They need to get some samurai into Star Trek, and then you'll get in there.
Yeah, maybe if,
film director that like I'll just be like, yeah. Well, I mean, Miyazaki.
yeah.
The animator
choice.
Miyazaki. He's like a modern day Disney. Really, is what Miyazaki is. Probably Miyazaki.
Okay.
Like animated movies.
I think Bong Joon-ho qualifies. He's a foreign film director. You championed him winning the Oscar for sure in Paris. I think Swimming Pool, was that the one with Charlotte Rampling?
Yes.
Yes, I love that film.
Yeah.
Because the blonde Ludwig Signet, I had such a thing for her in the 2000s. She was gorgeous, man. Gorgeous. So nice choice there. All right,
yes, and I kind of crushed on her. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, thank you, Andrew G. Appreciate you stopping in, man, dude. Thanks so much.
Take care, guys.
And also, dude, stay strong, brother. And I'm glad we can entertain you. I'm glad we can keep you level. Like Scott said, give it a little time, calm down when the feelings get a little too much, and just kind of navigate your way through it, man. I'm going to keep making content. I know Scott's going to keep making content for you to enjoy. So, turn to us if it gets a little hairy for you, man.
For sure, man. Take care, guys.
Be safe, buddy. Thank you.
Take care. All right, I'm bring in this guy. I'm a little nervous to bring this guy in, Scott. He's kind of a chill dude from down the south. You never know what's going to come out of his mouth, but I got to give him a little bit of love. Calvin, what you got going on, man? What you got going on for Scott Mantz, Calvin?
Hey, Calvin.
Turn your mic up, Calvin. Turn your mic. What's going on? Come on, Calvin. You got to be ready, Calvin. Come on now. There. All right, he's gone. All right, we'll bring him back up when he does. Let's see here. Jonathan Peck said, "Hey, John and Scott, nice shout out to the Orville. Seth MacFarlane is a diehard Trekkie, and it shows based on the performance and the writing." Now, if I'm not correct, it's not Trekkie, right? It's Trekker. That's what you are, isn't it?
You know what? You call me Trekkie, call me a Trekker. I don't care.
Fair enough.
So there are some people who in more recent years, they would get upset about being called a Trekkie.
Yes.
Like, so what? Isn't that what you are? I'm fine with being called a Trekkie. Yeah. I'm proud. I'm like, whether call me a Trekkie, call me a Trekker. I don't care. I just love it.
Just call me a lover of Trek. Exactly. I agree. Yeah, I'm going to have to give the Orville a chance here because I'm not always the biggest fan of Seth MacFarlane. So I want to see, maybe I'll give it a chance. A lot of people have been recommending it to me. So yeah, we'll see. All right, we got almost 200 of y'all in here watching us live. Thank you so much for joining us. Please get those likes up. Get up. We're at 130 right now. Get us up to 150. March us up to 200. Really appreciate it. Don't forget that the Streamlabs and the Super Chats are up. Come give Scotty some love. Send in some stuff, some support, and let's have some fun conversations. Ask questions of Scott that you've always wanted to ask him. He is here and available now as we do these conversations tonight. Soshar99, I said, as a younger fellow sci-fi fan, can you both suggest an underrated movie for me, an underrated sci-fi movie? I watched Silent Running with Bruce Stern the other night. It was beautiful. What about you? Do you have an underrated sci-fi film that you can recommend?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
If you have Disney Plus, you have got to see the 1979 underrated sci-fi film, The Black Hole.
Yes.
Yes. Love that movie. It is basically, it came out within a week or two of Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
Yep.
And it was a live-action Disney film, the first PG-rated live-action Disney film. It's basically 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea in space.
Yeah.
And the special effects, the production design, the music, the score by John Barry.
Yeah.
The John Barry musical score is fantastic. I mean, yeah, in some ways it feels like a Star Wars ripoff. I mean, it was only 2.5 years after Star Wars opened, but the way that they made outer space look, and some of the visual effects, John, that scene when the meteor is tumbling.
Oh, man.
Like, how the hell did they do that?
Yeah, right? It's the way I feel when I watch Blade Runner now. I'm like, how the hell did you do that? And it still looks, or even 2001, how did you do that? And it still looks like you just made it with the technology of 2020. How is that possible? But yeah. I agree with you.
Blade Runner, The Black Hole.
Yeah.
When I downloaded Disney Plus, the first thing that I watched was I love that film.
I need to go see that on Disney Plus because I used to own the soundtrack album, which had the scenes combined with the music. So that was so whenever when I couldn't watch the film, because at that time you didn't own the film, you could only watch it when it came on TV. Right. After we'd seen it in the theater, I made my dad buy me the soundtrack album, and I listened to it repeatedly. I mean, just the sound of Maximilian Schell saying Maximilian, and when he's like, what happens to him, and Slim Pickens doing the broken down droid, all of that, and Yvette Mimieux, Robert Forster. I mean, that film is just genius on so many levels and doesn't get the love it deserves. I agree, 1,000%. 1,000%. And I guess I would throw in Dark City into that as well. A lot of people don't talk about Dark City enough, and that's a cool little interesting sci-fi film in that way. Let's see if there's anybody else. Oh yeah, here we go. Mukbang. Which Oscar-winning film or performance was least deserved? Ooh, I don't know.
Ooh, which Oscar-winning film? Oh, I could answer that easily.
Okay.
The King's Speech. Best Picture? Really?
Oh.
No way.
Strong statement.
No way.
Okay.
Speech was so this is 2010. Okay.
Yeah.
And King's Speech, Jeffrey Rush and what's his name?
Oh yeah, Colin Firth. Yes.
Colin Firth, thank you. I thought it was a fine movie. It was a crowd pleaser. It was a very, very play it safe movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like The Social Network was brilliant. The Social Network was a movie for our time, but also because it was directed by David Fincher, but more importantly, written by Aaron Sorkin.
Yeah.
The Social Network is the Citizen Kane of the 21st century. And here's why.
Wow.
It's not just because it's a great movie.
Yeah.
It's Citizen Kane. Like, think about it. So both movies are about information. Yeah. So in Citizen Kane, it's newspapers, and in The Social Network, it's the internet.
Yeah.
Mark Zuckerberg is Charles Foster Kane.
Wow.
Jedediah Leland is Eduardo Saverin, the character played by Andrew Garfield.
Yes.
And the sled in Citizen Kane is Rooney Mara. Remember when he kept to see if she accepted his friend request? It is Citizen Kane.
Dude, you just blew my mind with that. Wow. Okay.
And I've seen Social Network so many times, and just for anyone who has Netflix, it's streaming now on Netflix. Watch it if you haven't seen it or you haven't seen it in a while. I have no desire to ever see The King's Speech.
I will tell you, I thought you blew my mind with that gaffe is actually the Blade Runner theory you had in our Cinephiles episode. Now this one, I think this one tops that theory, and now I'm going to have to go back and watch it and through the Citizen Kane prism and see how much is lined up. This could be like Wizard of Oz and Dark Side of the Moon. I could be lining this thing up in my head. I know a lot of people would say Crash or Around the World in 80 Days. I think my number one performance that I thought was least deserved was I thought Paltrow's performance in Shakespeare in Love. I think Cate Blanchett did a miles better job and was asked to do so much more in Elizabeth than Paltrow did in Shakespeare in Love. And I love Shakespeare in Love, and I will take that over Saving Private Ryan every day. I know I get a lot of crap for that, but I love that movie, and I love her in the movie. But what Blanchett is doing is next level work in Elizabeth, and it should have been rewarded with an Oscar for sure. That's my answer to that question. All right, Scotty, we don't have any more Streamlabs running super chats, so let's jump into the next subject, and that is Star Trek, brother. You know, we're both Star Trek. We're both like wearing the the original trilogy clothes here. We're big old school Trekkers. Talk to me about how you feel about the new direction of where it's going. Because in essence, we're in the renaissance of Trek right now with CBS All Access and all the shows that they're doing and have coming down the pike. What's your feeling about it all?
Well,
oh no.
Wow.
All right, do you want to move on? Do you not want to talk about it? We can talk about something else.
Is this? Over the years, so yes, clearly I grew up with the original series. I was a diehard fan of the original series
Yeah.
for my entire childhood. And then Next Generation comes along, and the first couple of years, Next Gen wasn't really that great. But by the third season, Next Generation really hit its stride, and it stayed great up until the end of its 7th year. Deep Space Nine, I admired initially, but Deep Space Nine also found its footing in the 3rd season, especially the 4th season.
Yeah.
And Deep Space Nine was something very different, but it still felt like Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
It still felt like a Star Trek show. And even though DS9 was a little darker, the characters were still likable, admirable.
Mm-hmm.
The shows were aspirational. You know, Voyager was okay, a little boring, honestly.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah, Voyager was, I mean,
I couldn't get into Voyager. I tried.
Yeah, I think the problem, John, with Voyager and Enterprise is that you had the same producers and writers working on all the shows since Next Generation.
Yeah.
Ran out of ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Although the last season of Enterprise was actually pretty good. So then you have the JJ films, which, like I mentioned at the top of the show today, love, especially the first one.
Yeah.
And now that brings us to Discovery and Picard. So what I always loved about Star Trek was how aspirational it was. It was philosophical. It made you think. It was a mirror. It was a reflection of our times, but with characters that we aspired, you know, full of hope. Okay. When the original show was on in the 60s at the time of the Vietnam War, Cold War, civil rights, you know, there was a whole lot of shit going on in the late 60s, but here was the show that showed the future, and it was like, wow, look what we're doing in the 23rd century, and how awesome is this guy James T. Kirk? He's but Discovery was really dark, and it was very violent.
Yeah.
I thought the 2nd season of Discovery was better.
Yes, I agree.
And I think that a big reason for that was Anson Mount was great as Pike.
Yeah.
But Picard
didn't do it for you, huh? Wow. Yeah. Okay. I see. I found myself enjoying Picard, and maybe because I'm not the biggest The Next Generation fan. I'm not as hardcore as other people, knowing every single word that came out of Picard's mouth or the storylines. Like, I watched the show and I enjoyed some of the show, but overall, I just was a hardcore original series person. And unfortunately, through no fault of their own, I just kept comparing it. And in the end, I found it lacking for me overall, even though I know a lot of people love it. So when Picard came into this first season, I was excited with the story. I liked that they were systematically destroying this hero worship of Picard every episode. I thought it was gutsy decision by the filmmakers, by the showrunners, to like kind of take Picard down a few pegs to show that he's human. No matter how much we admire or love people who are, successful, there are things about them that we might not find so cool if we were to work with them, if we were to have to be in their, eye line or eyesight for where they're trying to get to, we might not enjoy it. And so I liked that they did that with Picard, but you did not. You didn't enjoy the series at all. I
thought it went too far. Okay. I listen, I'm all for Star Trek evolving and growing. It needs to do that. And I thought that, going back to my example of Deep Space Nine, it evolved the original premise and it worked.
Yeah.
The JJ movies evolved from the original premise and they worked. Even, the second movie, Into Darkness, maybe not so much, but certainly the 2009 movie in Star Trek Beyond,
right,
which I really liked a lot.
Yes.
But the darkness in Picard, the violence.
Oh, interesting.
Too much. They crossed the line. And, I get that the show's got to be different.
Right.
Again, I'm all for taking chances and doing different things. You got to shake it up. You got to stir the pot. But I did not like seeing Starfleet so corrupt. And, when I think of the spirit of Star Trek, being aspirational, something to aspire to, something, especially in these grave times, to give us hope. I am not feeling that at all on Picard. Yeah, I love Patrick Stewart as Picard. I love the episode with Marina Sirtis and Jonathan Frakes.
Yeah, that was a sweet episode.
But, nostalgia will only get me so far. I still felt that overall, it was, watching it was not fun. It felt like a chore.
Wow. Interesting. I had a complete, I guess, because for me, I was like, yeah, that's right. Gene Roddenberry was aspirational in the 60s of what he wanted the future to be. But we have lived in the future, and the future is not what Roddenberry envisioned. And so for me, adjusting Star Trek so that it shows the more realistic truth of what a human future will be, I was okay with. But you make a great point, Scott, because then you say, well, then what was the point of Star Trek if you're going to just become like every other sci-fi series that shows the darkness of man? As Star Trek was supposed to show the possibilities of the future. I mean, we mentioned Undiscovered Country earlier. That's an even more stark example of how you have someone like Kirk who wants to take revenge, but has to understand that his needs have to be put away so that the overall good, once again, the needs of the many outweighing the needs of the few here. I totally take your point. I enjoyed it for what it was, but I totally understand your point, my brother.
Yeah. And listen, I get that we live in because we live in troubled times. Like science fiction is always at its best when it holds a mirror up to our society.
Right.
And I think that, Picard and Discovery are trying to do that, but I think that you should, like the original show did that too, but it still addressed the issues while still coming up with positive ways to reflect the culture.
Yeah.
And, in the case of Discovery, I felt like it reminded me of the rebooted version of Battlestar Galactica. Now, I loved the rebooted version of Battlestar Galactica. It's one of my favorite shows next to the original Star Trek. But if I want to watch Battlestar Galactica, I'll watch Battlestar Galactica. If I watch Star Trek, I want to watch Star Trek.
Yeah.
And, these newer shows, they're just way too dark. Now, listen, critics love it, love Picard. I mean, a lot of people love it. So maybe I just got to get with the times and move on. But just really watching Picard was like seriously. And listen, on top of everything else, honestly, John, I thought it was boring.
Yeah. All right. I respect that. Myra M says, I loved Enterprise and where the storyline was going, and then it got canceled. I was so looking forward for the Romulan War. The finale did them dirty.
Oh, the finale for the Voyages. I like the finale. I thought it was, again, it was something different. So, they make the last episode. Basically, it was an episode of The Next Generation, which showed the Enterprise show through the holodeck. And I thought that was a nice touch to kind of wind Enterprise into the rest of the mythology.
Yeah.
And I agree that listen, Enterprise was another show. Season 4, they figured it out. Yeah. They stopped trying to avoid canon. They leaned into it. They gave the fans what they wanted. And then it was canceled. Again, I think that it needed to happen because they really needed to hit the reset button. And I thought the Kelvin timeline movies really, really did a great job of that.
Yep, I agree. Keith Forsey says 2 words: Romulan samurai. Well, come on, I guess. I get people's anger towards that. We had a donation here from Wayne Edwards. It says, Rocha and Mantz together. Love these dudes. For the most part, I'm enjoying current Star Trek Discovery and Picard and looking forward to what's coming next. What are your thoughts? Well, we just answered that, Wayne. So thank you so much for that donation. And I hope we answered that question to your liking, because Scott, it seems like he's kind of on the fence about it. I'm more excited to see what's coming, but I get it. Maybe it's not Star Trek for some people, and it is, because certainly Robert Meyer Burnett won't stop raging about it on all his shows. And I love Robert, but he won't stop raging about it. At some point, I'm going to have him on here, and we're going to get down and dirty on Trek for sure. Dalton Jackson says, Bespin, cowman, no hat. I don't know what that means, but okay. All right. Those were the days.
Thanks, buddy. I think that was a dig.
Wasn't it me? Oh.
Bespin?
Yeah, I guess so. And here we go. Mukbang review says, speaking of finales, what did either or both of you make of the Game of Thrones finale? Any favorite finales? Mine was 6 Feet Under. Thanks for being here. Oh, it's very kind. Thank you, Mukbang, for Scott. Yeah. Scott, what do you got? Any favorite finales? Did you like the Game of Thrones finale? What's your feeling?
I thought Game of Thrones was okay. It was, I thought that whole last season was a little off the rails.
Yeah.
But I think overall the show was very, very good. As far as finales go, 2 finales that really, really rocked my world. One of them was BSG, Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah.
That finale was very, very, very satisfying.
Yeah.
I think that the finale, the last episode of Next Generation Star Trek, All Good Things.
Yeah.
Superb. And honestly, that should have been the first Next Generation movie, not Generations. But I thought the Next Generation finale was terrific. In more recent days, I would say that the finale for Breaking Bad finale. Yeah.
A lot of people feel that way. I would defend the Sopranos finale. I'll defend it till I'm dead. I loved it. I loved it. It went dark, and it said to the audience, you figure it out. F you figure it out. And huh?
What do you think happened?
I don't know, nor did I spend any time thinking about it, because I was like, this was a gift to get all these seasons and a window into this dude's world and these incredible characters who fleshed out this world that Tony Soprano lived in. And so when the door closed and went black for 5 minutes, I was like, that is a ballsy decision by a showrunner like David Chase to do that. And I thought it was a great way to just go, this was the time you have with Tony Soprano, and your time with him is over. And I was like, oh, this is great. I don't need a resolution. This was brilliant. But now he's got that prequel coming, and so my feeling about it has changed since. But I still loved the experience of the finale, and I'll always take the Cheers finale when Sam reaches back in and turns the light off in the bar.
That's great. Yeah.
Right? I mean, that one just broke me when he did that, because it was like really the end of Cheers, and I loved that show.
Yeah,
loved that show.
When you get to a finale and you feel sad when it's over.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I really did feel sad when Battlestar was done. It's 41. For people who've never seen that, the 2000 version of Galactica, it was only on for 4 seasons. Mm-hmm. So, and they knew by the end of the 2nd season that the show was going to end after 4 seasons.
Right.
So it didn't have like filler. They already knew where the show was, that the end was near, and they started writing towards it. A show like Lost, which had a great 1st season.
Yeah.
2nd, 3rd season were pretty good. 4th season was really good. The 5th season was awful.
Yeah.
The last season was all right. It's a roller coaster,
Yep. I agree. Let's bring on 2 more people, and then Mantz and I are going to get into our Schmoedown memories. So let's bring it. Level 2 trading. What do you got for me? What can you say, brother?
Hey guys. Hi, Mr. Mantz. I kind of struck. I'm the one who made the comment on Mark's stream the other day about La La Land. You know how much you love it.
He was the one who made the comment about La La Land on Mark's stream the other day when you were doing the trivia.
What was the comment? I was. That reminds me. I'll get to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Again, remind me.
What was your comment again?
Yeah, that doesn't really matter. I just I have a question on topic for you. For what you should do with your YouTube channel. I know sub to the channel, right? You should do a review of season 1 and 2 of the new Star Trek stuff and Picard, and do it against the Orville. And John, the Orville is probably the best Star Trek show that came
Okay.
out in the last 20 years. So if
Okay.
you haven't seen it, go watch that and you do a review of that.
Okay.
And the format should be, we know RMB hates all things new in Star Trek. Mans is in the middle, and if we could find somebody who could argue like Bibiani or
Yeah.
or one of the other guys who like the series, because I think personally Picard went too far also, because before and Data, that whole part of Star Trek they just murdered, because the ending of Star Trek was that Data was supposed to live on through B4. And the ending scene Picard season 1 just totally destroyed that.
Okay.
On the Kelvin timeline,
Yeah.
I want to actually see Chris Hemsworth part of that series, where they was going to actually do a movie with Chris Hemsworth as Kirk's dad. So I want to see that. So that's all I have. If you can answer those.
All right.
Thanks for the invite, guys.
I'll take your advice on Orville, and I appreciate that, brother. But yeah, Scott, he's suggesting that you review season 1 and season 2 of Discovery, and then season 1 of Picard, and compare it to the Orville on your new YouTube channel. We should talk about that for sure. Thank you so much, Level 2. Appreciate the question, man.
Thank you.
Scott, this new YouTube channel of yours, tell the people about it, please. How you're adding more content, you're reviewing franchises. It's really interesting what you're doing there.
Yeah, again, it's just doing my own thing is something I always sort of thought about doing, but I was always so busy doing everything else. I just never had the time. But well, now I got the time. Again, it's more about learning how to edit, shoot my own content and edit things together and stuff like that. But so it's my YouTube channel. It's a Scott Mantz, is the name of the channel. And I've been doing a show every week called Rank and File, which is I would say it's a cousin to the Top 10.
Oh,
what I do is, it's just me. I don't have a co-host or anything, but I just take all the films in a particular film series and I rank them all from worst to best.
Yeah.
And I also throw in some stats about, how much they made at the box office, what their Rotten Tomatoes scores were, when they came out, who directed them. It's all, just my own opinion. So the show is called Rank and File. And so far I have 4 episodes posted on Star Trek, Star Wars, Spider-Man, and I just did the Planet of the Apes movies.
Wow.
And what's interesting about Planet of the Apes is that, you're taking the 5 films between 68 and 73, and you're also throwing in the reboot films that Andy Serkis made,
right?
The Tim Burton movie, and ranking all those films together is kind of interesting. I got to tell you, the rebooted Planet of the Apes trilogy was brilliant.
Yes.
All 3 of those movies are fantastic. There's not a dud in the bunch.
Right.
Don't have it like where the first movie is great, the second one's even better, and the third one was like, oh shit, what happened with that? Like with Return of the Jedi or Spider-Man 3.
Right.
All 3 movies are sensational. So, but yeah, so every week I'm going to just pick another series of films and just rank them all. And my goal is to rank all 25 James Bond movies.
Oh, wow. It's a good thing No Time to Die was pushed to November. You have time to watch all of them and rank them as you see fit. That sounds awesome. So yeah, guys, go subscribe to Scott Mantz's YouTube channel. Go build it up. Go give him some love. Scotty does great stuff, and his analysis of film is one of the best things I enjoy. And like you said, his championing of things. And then when he doesn't like things, he's not, overtly mean. He's just honest with what he didn't like about it and lays it out. So please go and subscribe to him. Give him some love on that end. EY Geekness says, thanks for all you do, John. For Scott, you are always such an energetic beam of sunlight, a positive burst of joy. Where does this energy come from? Well, you've asked the $1,000,000 question. Where does this energy come from,
Where
Scott Mantz?
does the energy come from? The honest answer to that is I just love talking about movies. I love talking about Star Trek. I love talking about the Beatles.
Yeah.
And again, when I'm around people I like John, like Mark and Christian, like any one of the people that we've all sort of mingled on, like my son Hal Rudnick, I just get very, very excited to be in good company, talking about the things that I love, and really that's where the energy comes from.
I appreciate it. And here's the deal. I'm coming for that Beatles trivia title, whatever that was, because it was a bunch of bullshit that I wasn't involved in that in some way, shape, or form. I'm coming for that down the road.
While I have you, John.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so now here's the deal.
I haven't studied, but go ahead. Yeah.
You and I, and a few of us now have been for, I think, like maybe 4 or 5 months ago. We came so close to playing Beatles Trivial Pursuit.
Yes.
So, and now, okay, but like I think at the last minute we couldn't get our all of our schedules aligned. Right. It was going to be you, me, Mark Ellis, Ken Knapsack, Sam Levine, and maybe Rachel Cushing, I think, wanted to play too.
I think so, there was one more
thing. Like, now we can do this.
Yes, I agree.
Here's how we do this. So if we're all on Zoom, okay, and somebody it's their job to move the pieces around and read the questions. But we could do this.
We could do this. I got no doubts about it. I'm down to fight, because I was studying before we were going to do the Trivial Pursuit, and then it all went away. So as soon as we set up a day, and who knows, maybe with Alice's influence, we can hire a couple of people to edit it so it turns out to be a video on all our channels that people can enjoy. But yes, I'm down. Let's do it. Let's play over Zoom.
We gotta do this, man.
We've done the Schmoedown exhibitions virtually, so why can't we do these? Right?
Here's my question. This is a question that I got stumped on.
Okay.
Which Beatle has blue eyes?
Ooh, wow.
That's
not... Their movies are in black and white.
All the pictures are in black and white. I was like, oh my God.
Is it one of the four, or is it like Pete Best? Okay.
Has blue eyes.
Ringo Starr.
That was my answer.
And what's the truth? George Harrison?
So my answer was Ringo. No, my answer was George.
Oh.
And I was wrong. And then Ken Knapsack predicted Ringo.
Yeah.
And we were both wrong. The Beatle with blue eyes, John Lennon.
What?
I know.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
All right. Here's another one.
All right.
Okay. And this question I got. What was the first hit that the Beatles had in the United States?
Oh. Wow. Was it I Want to Hold Your Hand?
Correctamundo.
Yes.
Got it. See, this is it. We're doing it.
Come on. Put it together. Yeah, because like you can get confused because, of course, there were British releases of Beatles albums that were different than the American releases of Beatles albums. But I will tell you this, Scott, you know what I've been enjoying? I'll tell you this as a side note. Over the last few months, I've been collecting those remastered Beatles albums because I bought a record player last year so that I could play them and listen to them remastered on that 180 gram or whatever, 220 gram, whatever. Yeah. And they are gorgeous to listen to.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I remember you and I were talking back in May of 2017 or 2018. Yeah. It was 17. I subscribed to Sirius XM.
Oh, right. For the Beatles channel. Yes.
For channel 18.
Yeah.
Just for the Beatles channel.
Yeah.
I know you're a Beatle fan too.
Oh.
And this, a few, right before the virus shut everything down, somebody was trying to stump me about the Beatles.
Oh.
And they asked me this question.
Oh, okay.
Boy. What song was on the B side to I Want to Hold Your Hand.
Oh, wow. Is it Anna or is it Chains?
Okay. Wrong on both counts.
Damn it. All right.
But John, so this is I Want to Hold Your Hand. What was the side to I Want to Hold Your Hand? So my response is, and this really freaked the person out. I said, that is a trick question.
Oh,
because in the United Kingdom, the B-side was This Boy.
Oh, This Boy.
In the United States, the B-side was I Saw Her Standing There.
Oh, wow. Which is another hit. Yeah.
Hits, you know, which territory you're in. So the person looked at me like what?
He should have been ejected like in Holy Grail. African or European. Oh, I didn't. What? It should have been sent away. Absolutely.
Do this Beatles trio procedure.
I'm down. You know I'm down. Let's see. Connie says, she says, I'm enjoying your chat. Re all things Trek. I'm warming to both Discovery and Picard, but the one aspect that really bothers me is the violence. So certainly another person that supports your point of view and feeling about it, Scott. So no surprise. I guess maybe I'm desensitized because I see so many films with the violence that it didn't bother me. I mean, I was bothered by the Klingon sex scene in the first season of Discovery for sure. I thought that was completely unnecessary. Or the redhead, I forget her name, the aspirational captain who's down there, her cussing so much. I was like,
oh yeah. See, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
I don't need that from Star Trek. I don't want that from Star Trek.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I do want from Star Trek. So season 2 of Star Trek Discovery.
Yeah.
I liked a whole lot more because of Anson Mount's performance as Captain Christopher Pike.
Yeah. Oh, it was great.
All I could think about, John, was give me a Star Trek series around Captain Pike on the Enterprise, and I'm good.
Yep.
And I know that I am not alone in voicing that because a lot of people were saying, oh, now that is the Star Trek show we should have gotten from the beginning.
Absolutely.
Everyone knows that Pike was the captain of the Enterprise before Kirk. And everyone knows that Spock served under Pike. But you could have the Enterprise on a 5-year mission with Captain Pike, basically being a Star Trek show.
Yeah.
I'm in.
He was so great. I mean, I thought Bruce Greenwood did such an excellent job himself. Of course, because I mean, I'm always going to be a Jeffrey Hunter guy. I mean, Glass Menagerie, that's the first Star Trek episode I ever watched. And and that has always stayed with me. It's one of my favorite is that the right episode I'm thinking about, right? With Mike? The Menagerie when he goes back and the I'm thinking Tennessee Williams. Yeah, the Menagerie when he goes back and has to, the boop, boop, all of that. That I remember, I was like, this is incredible. What is this? And it was my roundabout way of going into Star Trek because I thought Pike was the actual captain. And it was until later that it was like, I saw the next episode. Oh, actually Kirk, who was the captain and all of this. So interesting. And then, of course, finding out that there was another pilot originally shot and rewatching that was great. The completely different Spock. Completely different.
Interesting history to Star Trek, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But shout out to Lucille Ball, who greenlit the whole thing. Wouldn't happen without.
Okay. Yeah. Lucille Ball is the very first Trekkie.
Yep. Officially. Yeah. All right. I want to answer you all stream by stream, but let's jump into our rivalry a little bit, brother, man. It's been so long since we've been on the opposite sides of the table. We first got it done during movie fights. What was your impression, man, when I came in and we had this like crazy battle on the table there at movie fights? Were you just shocked that there was another person who from Philadelphia, or at least born in Philadelphia, who could throw down with you about this, or were you kind of like put back by me a little bit?
No, not put back at all. I mean, I liked you immediately. I thought, you're a lot like me. You're very, very passionate about movies, and you've got a very big personality, and I thought this guy's great. But you put two type A personalities together, fireworks. And listen, I was having a great time. I mean, that's the name of the show, right? Movie fights.
Movie fights.
What I didn't expect, what really threw me off was the reaction from the fans. The reaction that we got, and that brought us over to Christian and Mark with the Schmoedown.
Yeah.
But I just I remember when I met you in that little room in the studio there at Spring Monkeys. Oh, this guy seems great, and but we both are very excitable, type A, just big personalities.
Yeah,
and it's put two people like that together, and you're going to get fireworks, and that's fun. It's really fun. But
absolutely,
I just remember. Our two big matches,
Yeah.
I mean, to quote Hal Rudnick, my son, they really are iconic, right?
They were. I mean, do you still, you've accepted that I did not throw that first match, right?
Sure.
Now you've accepted, but it was, I had no idea what to expect. I was playing someone who was so knowledgeable. I was so nervous before that match because I really wanted to do well. And I remember thinking to myself, watch, it's going to be a Star Wars question. I just had a feeling that it was going to be a Star Wars question, and sure enough, and I could not believe it that I didn't get it. It was crazy.
But you know what? To this day, whenever I watch Empire Strikes Back, I watch it all the time, and of course I have all the movies on Blu-ray.
Right.
Now that you have Disney Plus, it's so easy just to sort of even just. If I'm working from home, which I'm doing, I'll put it on just to have it on in the background.
Yeah.
And, when they get to Cloud City, I think of you, man.
You mean when the one time they say Bespin just once in the movie? Once.
It's in the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon.
Yep.
And he says it like Han Solo. He says it really quick under his breath.
Thank you.
Yeah, he goes, Bespin, it's a long way, but I think we can make it. But he says it very quick.
That's what I'm saying.
Attention, you don't get it.
Yeah. I feel more worse about the Calvin Klein miss than I would ever feel about the Bespin miss. That was a random one that I just did not get. But from that point forward, I mean, we shot scenes, we shot battles, we shot going at each other, all this stuff that was going on. It was crazy, man. And I remember because that was like when we were building the Schmoedown with all the promos and whatever. And what's your experience with it, man? Did you enjoy, like overall, are you a fan of having been a part of it and enjoyed it and all of that?
Yeah. I think, ultimately, I was doing it quite a bit there, for a couple years. Yeah. But I think ultimately the reason I stopped doing it was because I realized I'm not good at it. I think I just really, what happened was the match that I had with Hal Rudnick.
Oh yeah.
We were both playing really, really bad. And the only reason I won the match was because I got movie release dates. And that's when I realized like I'm really not good at this. Yeah. And when I was doing the teams, with Jason, my buddy Jason Inman, we were Team Trek, and I love Jason like a brother. He's just a really, really super great guy, and we really made a good team. But when I went back to the singles, I just was like, I'm really not good at this. And, I just the last match I did was with that free for all for the release.
Oh yeah,
and that was the last one I did. I think it was like 2 years ago.
Any chance you'll be back, or it's just kind of you've had your time with it, and you'll do the exhibition matches, but that's pretty much it?
Well, just stay tuned.
Oh, Mancy! Oh, breaking news! Breaking news! Scotty Mantz telling me to stay tuned.
What was the name of that James Bond movie?
Never Say Never.
That's the one.
Yeah. All right. I love it. I love it.
Just stay tuned.
Going into the second match between us, man, were you just like, were you worried about it? Were you concerned about it? What was your feelings going in, or were we just going to have some fun with it?
I was nervous. Because you know what, Sean? I knew you wanted to win really, really bad. And you did.
Yes. Barely. People forget.
You were a great heel. You played it, man. You played that heel.
I felt so bad when I threw that shirt. Like when I walked, I was like, "Oh God, is he mad at me? I don't want him to be mad at me. I love Scott Mantz. I don't want him to be mad at me."
That was fun.
Yeah, people forget you spun movie release dates, and everyone's like, "Oh, this is over." I think Sasha Pearl Raber ran up and gave you a high five because she just thought, "Oh, you're gonna win this thing," and I just kind of played it cool, and it worked out in my favor, thankfully, by the end, But there's no way there's the Outlaw without Scott Mantz. Like Mantz was so essential to the beginnings of that, and I think the Schmoedown itself, the rivalry. I think it really kind of elevated the Schmoedown as well because people were crazy about it and wanted to see it again, and it's still, people still come up to me and go, when are you going to play Mantz again to end the trilogy? Because it's 1-1. It's 1-1. So people think we need to end the trilogy with a rubber match down the road.
Wow. Well, that would be a hell of a thing, wouldn't it, buddy?
Yes, it would. Ooh, I feel like you're teasing something. Okay. All right, let's see. Haskell 420 says, "Hi, John and Scott. Where do you rank the new Apes trilogy? Where do you rank that one?"
I rank that one really, really high. Outside, next to the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Yeah.
And the Before trilogy, before.
Oh, right.
Before sunset, before midnight.
Right.
The Apes trilogy is a perfect trilogy.
Wow.
There's it's not like, with like, I know I brought up the Spider-Man 3 or Return of the Jedi, where the third movie really dips and, it kind of ruins the strength of the trilogy as a whole.
Yeah.
But the Planet of the Apes trilogy, the first movie, Rise of the Planet of the Apes, directed by Rupert Wyatt, and then Dawn of the Planet of the Apes and War for the Planet of the Apes, directed by Matt Reeves.
Yeah.
All three of those movies are fan-friggin-tastic. Love them.
I agree. I think it's a series that gets better with every movie.
I agree.
I love the third one a lot. I think the first one isn't as strong in comparison to 2 and 3, but then again, that's a lay the groundwork origin movie. So there's going to be a bit of like figuring out what this is supposed to be, and then it really takes off in the second film and third film. And I'm sad that Matt Reeves left it, but we'll see because they're bringing it back. We'll see what they do with a third reboot of the Planet of the Apes. So that should tell you people are still interested in this thing.
Well, of the 3 films,
yeah,
I actually think that Dawn of the Planet of the Apes from 2014, it's the best one, but only by like a hair.
Right.
Because I just felt like, with the second film, you have the apes and you have the human survivors, and without the power, which is what the humans need,
right?
From the dam, the humans and the apes are on a level playing field.
Yep.
So you have this uneasy alliance between Caesar and the humans, led by Jason Clarke,
right?
His character, and you can tell they really want it to work. But within the apes ranks, you have apes that are driven by fear and try to sabotage the relationship.
Yep.
And in the human ranks, you have the humans who are, they just want to kill off the apes, and it was tragic. And then you have this like biblical relationship between Koba and Caesar. It's kind of like Jesus and Judas, and Cain and Abel. I mean, that movie is just amazing.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, before I did the rank and file, I rewatched the original trilogy, and I forgot how Rise of the Planet of the Apes, the first movie, ends. And it's, remember the ending credit?
Right.
It shows the pandemic being
Yes.
spread around the world, and I'm watching it going like, oh my God,
Right.
this just happened.
It's almost prescient in that way. Yeah.
Yeah, and that basically humanity was wiped out by a virus, and the only people who survived were these people who were immune to the virus.
Yeah.
And I just was watching, going like, I mean, I love the villain movies anyway, but like, who knew that they would be just a few years ahead of their time like that?
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Let's see. Junko Tamiya says, join the exchange, Scott Mantz, the Finstock exchange. Trek and release date dominance.
People always say, like, what is it with you and movie release dates? How do you? I don't know. I really don't know. But by the way, I mean, like when it comes to that, I mean, you're really only talking about movies that go back to like maybe 1970.
Yeah.
Because, movies before my time, like I can't get into movies from the 40s, except like the usual suspects,
Right.
But, I think really just I equate the movies I love or hate with when and where I saw them. And if I remember where I saw them, I remember when I saw them, and that's where the dates come about.
Yeah. I can get that. That makes total sense. Let's see here. Have you guys seen, this is from Preston Bryant, have you guys seen Space Battleship Yamato 2199? I have not. You have? Oh, talk to me about this. What is that?
Really good. Like, I would love to see them do, not an American version, but at least a Hollywood version of Space Battleship Yamato. I mean, it's perfect for a film series and a film franchise.
Wow.
Space Battleship Yamato. I remember when I was younger, watching the English dub versions when it was called Star Blazers.
That's what that is.
Yeah.
Oh, I've seen Star Blazers. Hell yes. Okay.
Off in outer space. Protect the Mother Earth and save the human race. Our Star Blazers. Yeah, come on.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah,
I'll have to watch the Japanese version at some point down the road here for sure. All right, Soul Shirt 99 says, "Gents, I'm aware that we are all missing the cinema as an experience during these mad times. So with that in mind, what were your first and last movies you saw in the cinema? Mine were Babe and Joker, and also your favorite cinema experience. Mine was Fury Road. So we already covered that both of us had The Invisible Man as our last film in the theaters. What was the first film that you remember seeing in the theaters ever in your life, Scott?
Ever in my life.
Yeah.
Question. The first movie that I remember seeing in a theater was 1973 or 74. It was Escape to Witch Mountain.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
okay. The Disney one, right? Yeah.
It was a Disney movie with remember Kim Richards? Now,
yes.
People know her from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, but I knew her from Tough Turf from 1984 with James Spader, and Escape to Witch Mountain from 1970. I think it was 73 or 74. Right. But that was the first movie that I saw in a movie theater, and and then like in the years that followed, like I remember my parents took me to see Jaws when I was like 70 years old. Like, what the hell was I thinking? I saw the King Kong. Remember the 1976 King Kong?
Oh yeah, with Jeff Daniels and Jessica Lange. Yeah.
Yeah. Foul Play with Chevy Chase and Goldie.
Oh yeah.
Murder by Death, the Neil Simon movie.
Dude, that film. I love Murder by Death.
Yeah, Murder by Death is hilarious.
It would never work nowadays because Peter Sellers' Charlie Chan would get you banned, but it's brilliant to watch as a timepiece from that time.
Yeah, it's so racist. But back in 76, I guess it was okay.
It was okay.
but yeah, and I just remember, I mean, it wasn't the first movie I ever saw, but
right.
To be able to say that I saw Star Wars, in theaters the weekend it opened.
Yep.
Like, most people watched it on home entertainment, VHS, DVD, Blu-ray. Now it's streaming.
Right.
Maybe they saw one of the reissues when they had the special editions come out in the late 90s.
Yeah.
Like, I was there, like Star Wars, May 25th, 1977 at the Eric Fairless Hills, about an hour north of Philadelphia. That's where I saw it.
Yeah. I think mine was Pinocchio. I think it was one of those re-releases that they did in the theaters, not the original run. You guys out there making your age jokes. It was one of the re-releases, and I remember my mom took me. I would think I was maybe 5 or 6 years old. It was a movie theater down in Arlington near an old school place called Memco. And I remember we walked in and watched it. When we came out, I was scarred from that movie because of the donkey scene. That donkey scene messed me up for days. I remember that being one of the first movies I actually saw in the movie theater myself. So yeah, but like Scott, my parents, who are immigrants from another country, they didn't quite understand how the rating system worked in films. So I went to see Jaws at a young age, which was really a mistake. And then they took me to see The World According to Garp. So a 10-year-old kid looking at transsexualism, looking at transvestites, blowjobs in the car, cheating on you. Like, it was a mind-opening experience on so many levels, that movie. So,
well, here's my question for you, John.
Yeah.
All right. What was the very first Star Trek episode you ever saw?
I told you, the Menagerie. That's the first one. Right. That's the first one.
Yeah. My first Star Trek episode was Mirror, Mirror.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I was completely hooked.
Yeah.
But it was such an atypical episode because everything takes place in the mirror universe.
Right.
So, it wasn't like a regular episode. That was the one. Yeah.
You get the goatee Spock. That's right. That's right.
Yep.
All right, we got two people waiting to ask us questions. They're going to wrap up. Scott, I know we've taken enough of your time. I really appreciate it, brother. You've been a great sport with everything. Calvin, have you got it working?
I think so.
Okay.
I think I got it. Can you hear me?
Yes. Turn me down.
Turn me down. Oh, turn you down?
Yeah, because it'll echo.
Well, I don't know if I can do that, but I want to tell Mantz really quick, man. You're the fucking man, dude. I love you, man. Movie release dates. Jesus fucking Christ. Nobody better.
Yes.
I dare somebody to try to say something about you. And I'll tell you, I first seen you on the Schmoedown. I think it was AfterBuzz when they was doing AfterBuzz. You came in there. And I'll tell you another damn thing too, man. Profiles.
Oh yeah.
That was my shit. You need to bring that back. And you need to get Alicia Malone with you too. I want your ass. You need to get Alicia Malone back with you too. I'm telling you. That was my shit, man. I love that show. That was one of my best shows. I look forward to that. I used to listen to it on audio.
Oh, really?
Yes, I used to listen to it on audio when I was at work. And they'd be like, what do you listen to, Cal? I'll be sitting there, I'm cooking. And they'd be like, which I shouldn't even be doing in the first place. But anyway, but they was like, what are you listening to, Cal? And I'm like, I'm listening to Profiles with Mantz and Malone. That was like 2016, 17, something like that. Yeah, man. I love you. And
15.
I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt you. What did you say?
He's saying
our first show I think was in August of 2014, and the first show.
Yeah, I remember when y'all came out. I remember when you came out there and they started calling you Cocaine Donkey and all that shit. I was like, this guy's just, I mean, I get it, what they were saying, but I was like, this guy's just high off movies, man. He loves movies and all that stuff. But I mean, I feel that energy, and that energy, I think you got that type of energy that bounces off of other people. You know what I mean? I mean, like, I feel your energy, and you know.
Thank you so much. It really means a lot. I really appreciate it.
I'm telling you, man. So you are the man. You are the man, and I love you. And I wanted to know. Well, I did want to say that about the profiles thing. And Rocha, I'm going to tell you still need to get Matt Notes on here. But,
I know. I get him. He's busy.
All right. But I wanted to know, man, how'd you even get started in all this? I don't know if you talked about this previously. I never really heard.
It was the question I had, but we've been running through so many questions. Yeah. How did you get started, Nolan?
That's kind of a long story.
Thanks, Calvin.
I grew up in Philadelphia, and I was always a big movie buff. It was my hobby, was movies. And I just never thought I would, get into it as a profession, as far as like, reviewing movies and, building an expertise on it. But, I moved out to LA in 1991 to work for a company called Creation Entertainment, and they run Star Trek conventions. And I was there for about 9 years, and I started reviewing movies around in 98, 99, just online. And I quit my job at Creation to go work for Access Hollywood as a film researcher. Long story short, I started reviewing movies for them and started producing segments for them, interviewing, the actors and the filmmakers. And, but my passion was always to review movies. And all the while I was working for Access Hollywood, I started reviewing movies for them and going on their show, and it just kind of took off from there, and that led to the Schmoes, that led to Screen Junkies and Collider and Profiles and KTLA and all that. It's a really long story, but I just followed my heart, and like John, like you said at the top of the show, I've been very lucky that I've been able to, for all the changes that have gone on in my life with moving out to LA and moving on from Access, I always landed on my feet, but it was always, not going to lie, it was always a lot of hard work and a lot of just determination and being resourceful and staying true to myself. Yeah. You gotta stay true to yourself.
Yeah, that's a great point you say there, Scott. Two last comments here, and then we'll bring in one last question. We're out of here. J-Dog says, Rocha was there to see the government move from Philly to D.C. and the train leave Philly for New York. I don't know what that means, Jay. If you're going to take a shot, make sure your grammar is correct, brother, man. Preston Bryant, they did the remake of Star Blazers in 2012, 2013, added a new theme, and it's amazing. Check it out. Okay. All right.
I will check it out.
We'll do. Let's see. Two last ones, Scott, if you don't mind, real quick. ZCM Zombie, you've been waiting, brother. They keep kicking you out. So ask your question.
Am I on?
What's
sweet.
up?
Oh,
yeah.
My gosh. Okay.
Ask your question.
Here we go.
You're in with Mantz.
Oh my gosh. Wait, hold on a second. Sorry.
Yeah, turn me down.
Hey, how you doing?
Oh, you turned yourself down. You got 2 seconds. Can you fix it?
There we go.
There we
go. I get it now.
Right.
Yeah,
Yes.
sweet. All right. I've been such a big fan of you, Mantz, and obviously Rocha, and I love your feud in the Schmoedown and the movie fights. It's amazing. I want to see number 3. We got to see number 3.
See, I told you, people
I
want
know.
the trilogy, Mantz. What does this mean?
Yeah.
What game are you playing at? What game are you playing? Are you telling me there's a possibility for a third match? Oh man.
He could have talked to Christian. He could have talked to Christian about it. And
by the way, let me tell you something about Christian Harloff.
Yeah.
I love Christian Harloff to pieces. That guy can sell ice to an Eskimo.
He can.
So persuasive.
Yeah.
And, he could, I love him like a brother, but, he never forgets,
No, he doesn't.
For something until you give in, and he always knows the right things to say to make you see it his way.
Yeah, true. He could sell a ketchup popsicle to a woman with white gloves.
Yeah.
Tell me, is that your question, brother? Or do you have one?
No, I had a pretty interesting question, and you guys kind of alluded to it at the beginning of the show.
Okay.
You were talking about indie films, talking about the streaming world and all that. And we consider if we were to, in the future, only see these big tentpole blockbuster films in theaters like the Avengers, Marvel, DC, all that kind of stuff. As of now, as of where it stands, what are your guys' thoughts about A Quiet Place, Antlers, and Candyman? Do you guys see those movies appearing in theaters, or do you guys see that more likely appearing on a streaming service? More likely.
Okay. Well, for A Quiet Place Part 2 is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's supposed to open. Isn't it ironic?
Yeah.
Right after the movie theaters close, there's a movie called A Quiet Place. Come on.
Right.
But so right now Paramount has that movie slated to open, I believe, September 4th, which is Labor Day weekend.
Right.
And I think that's actually a pretty good It's not too soon, like July. Like I think July might be too soon, but September seems more feasible.
Yeah.
So, I think having a movie like A Quiet Place Part 2 to look forward to for September is a really good thing to look forward to, because I think that it makes sense. And it's a realistic goal, you know. Whereas Tenet in July, I think for a movie like that, I'm afraid it might be just a little too soon. John, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with everything you just said. I think that's the approach that seems to make sense. The timeline seems to make sense as well, and it gives time for everything to breathe. I think the last thing Jordan Peele wants to do is release a film as he's been building this horror resume straight to digital. I think he likes the aspect of it being in a movie theater. I think he shoots films to be consumed by mass audiences in a movie theater. So they all jump together. They all freak out together. They all get the social message that he's sending together for sure. And I think Quiet Place Part 2, because of the scope of it, it'd be different if it was just all in a house in a quiet, small film. The fact that it's out there with these massive aliens and things like that, I think there's no way that Krasinski wants to just let that go down to a digital release. I think he wants it to have the sound design, as we just talked about earlier, Scott and I, about the Oscars thing. I think he wants that sound design to be truly appreciated in the theater, because I know A Quiet Place will always be one of the most memorable movie experiences of my entire life. It scared me so much that I started staring at the bottom left corner of the screen so I wouldn't have to look at what's happening in the middle of the screen, because it was scaring the living hell out of me. And kudos to them. So I think they want people to savor that again. You know, horror is great, and even in a pandemic, people still want to go to a horror film and lose themselves in. They do. They do. Thanks for your question, man.
I saw A Quiet Place at South by Southwest, and no one knew what that movie was going to be, and it just like the energy in the room, seeing A Quiet Place, discovering that movie at a film festival like South by Southwest. That was one of my favorite discoveries, film festival moments.
The nail scene, nail scene in particular.
The nail scene.
That's probably the most scariest part in that movie, when you have all these creatures coming about, and John Krasinski running from point A to point B. But yeah, I feel like Candyman and Antlers, like the Scott Cooper movie, Antlers. That looks so cool. I don't know, Scott, have you seen that movie yet?
Not yet. No.
They were just ramping up to start doing screenings for that when everything got shut down for Antlers. That's for sure. That one I could actually see going digital, but I think they want to wait to the last possible minute. But that one could live probably on digital. We'll see. Thanks, dude. Appreciate the question. Thanks for watching the show tonight, my man. Take care.
Thanks for the question. Great seeing you.
Yeah. And one last question, then we'll go. Wiley, all right, you've been waiting. Get up. Come on, kid. Stand up. Sit up straight.
The life of Wiley.
The life of Wiley, yeah.
Okay, so before I ask my question, I gotta thank you guys, because Rocha and Mantz, you guys are my two heroes since I was 13, and I just now during the show got an acceptance letter to a film school I applied to, so I owe that all to you. So,
oh my God, that's awesome, dude! Congratulations, man. Congratulations.
So
carry the banner. Carry the banner. All right, good.
So my question, Mantz, in 2015, May 1st, you made a video on AMC that changed my completely entire life. That was AMC Rewind, and you covered Paul Newman. And there was this movie that you talked about in it called The Color of Money.
Oh
no. Here we go.
The Color of Money is my favorite movie of all time, and I owe that all to you, Mantz, and I will never, ever talk about people just saying you literally changed my life watching that movie. And
first of all, thank you for that. I mean, like, what a massive honor, a massive compliment. You can't get it doesn't get better than that, right, John? I mean,
no, it doesn't. You're absolutely right.
Color of Money came out in December of 1986, and Martin Scorsese directed the film, and I think that because it followed Taxi Driver, Raging Bull, and King of Comedy, and he made a movie right before that called After Hours, which is That movie's amazing. But
It is good.
Color of Money, like I remember when I saw that movie for the first time, I just was blown away by how great of an actor Tom Cruise was.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was like, I mean, after Risky Business and Top Gun, I mean, here he is holding his own with Paul Newman, but Paul Newman was like as Fast Eddie Felson, reprising the role from The Hustler, 1961, 25 years later. And the scene, I'll tell you the scene that I love.
The Forrest Whitaker one, you talked about it on that video.
Oh, that scene's fucking amazing. when Forrest Whitaker mops the floor up with Paul Newman, and when Forrest Whitaker wins and he's putting away his pool stick, he goes, tell me, does this make me look fat? And Paul Newman just is standing there with his head down, and Tom Cruise and Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio, they're just looking at him like, holy shit, he's toast.
Yeah.
And from that point on, the movie becomes something else because he sends Tom Cruise on his way to do his own thing. He said, this is the last thing I got to teach you, and then he goes and he gets new glasses. He learns how to play pool again. And then the movie ends with him just,
I'm back.
Oh,
so good.
Great. The Color of Money. And Robbie Robertson did the music score for that film.
My favorite score.
It is that movie, The Color of Money, 1986. That movie is just so great. And
Thank you, Vance.
I won't watch The Hustler unless I can watch it back to back with The Color of Money. The Color of Money is we talked about Johnny. We talked about underrated sci-fi movies.
Yeah.
The Color of Money is just an underrated movie. Period. It's a great performances. Paul Newman won the Academy Award.
Yeah, exactly, and deserved it.
Deserved it, and like it is just a great film. Martin Scorsese, if you are watching this show right now,
thank you. First of all,
if you're watching Outlaw Nation, and I know you are, Marty, I gotta tell you, you've got major fans here who love The Color of Money. So
greatest movie of all
thank
time.
you, Martin Scorsese. Thank you, Paul Newman. Thank you, Tom Cruise. And thank you, everybody, for watching, because everyone, including Martin Scorsese, will know Outlaw Nation.
Oh, man, you're too kind. You are too kind, man. That was brilliant. Thank you, Scott. And thank you, Wiley, for the question. And congratulations, yes, OB. So happy for you, man.
Thank you, guys. You've seriously changed my life. Thank you.
You're awesome. You're awesome, Wiley. All right, Scotty. I don't think there's any other way to end the show than what you just did, man. That was incredible stuff, brother, man. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us here on the show on the Outlaw Nation channel, and the over 2 hours of conversation and answering questions from the fans. I have to say, this might be the Citizen Kane episode, a Citizen Kane of Outlaw Nation episode. So thank you so much. Please plug everything that you got going on, because I want everybody watching and everybody part of the nation who's going to watch later to go and patronize everything you're doing. So what are you doing, brother, man?
Well, first of all, it's the perfect timing, because as you can tell by everyone who's been watching, I'm losing the sunlight. The sun is going down. Wait, hang on 1 second. Don't leave. Don't leave. Oh, wait. I think I got some better light. Okay. We're back. Got some better light. So, John, seriously, this was so fun. Thank you so much for having me on. The show was great. And by the way, this is exactly what you should be doing. This format, this show plays to all of your strengths and then some. You are an amazing host. Your energy, your knowledge. And this is just a really super great show. So thank you for having me on. I'm usually on Friday mornings, as long as breaking news doesn't get in the way. You can catch me on KTLA Channel 5 if you live in Southern California. Check out my new YouTube channel. It's just Scott Mantz, nothing fancy. But check out my new shows. It's Rank and File. ranking the movies in a particular film series. Really lo-fi, just me talking into a camera about the movies I love and maybe don't like. You can also follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at Movie Mantz. And really, that's really the best way to catch me is on Twitter and Instagram. And breaking news I saw on my phone this coming Friday. So Lionsgate has been doing a screening series every Friday. They've been showing movies for free on their YouTube page, along with some bonus content. Jamie Lee Curtis introduces the film, and so they did The Hunger Games and they did Dirty Dancing. So this Friday they're doing La La Land.
Oh,
they just asked me to live tweet during their live stream of La La Land this coming Friday at 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern time. So while you're watching La La Land on the Lionsgate YouTube channel, I'll be live tweeting trivia and never before seen photos from the movie. So
that's awesome. That is awesome. Congratulations, Scott. What did I tell you? Well, you're going to land on your feet. You're going to be fine. You're going to be just fine. And no surprise that you got something like that going. I know a lot of people are doing those, so it's great to have someone like you could jump on board on that film that you love so much and was really a big champion for, which is what you mentioned earlier in the show, championing films. You certainly championed that film, and it surprised a lot of people and won so many awards. So it's going to be awesome to follow that. So follow Scott now on his social media so you can be ready for Friday when he's doing that with La La Land. I just saw the one the other day with the Wrath of Khan, the CYA one they did with Wrath of Khan with the two gentlemen there. That was enjoyable as hell to sit back in the office, put it on the TV, and just listen to these people talk about it. It was brilliant. So it's so great that you're going to get you're going to be live tweeting all of that for La La Land. So congratulations, my brother. Yeah. And do you have a Patreon? Do you have anything going on right now or not yet?
Not set up for Patreon yet, but I'm still getting my act together with that.
Right.
Sooner or later it'll happen.
It has to happen, and people will support you like they're supporting Dan Merlin droves. People love you and will do so as well. All right, please, everyone, thank you so much, Scott Mantz, for taking the time. Thank you so much for being a hunter, and thank you to all of you all for coming on as well and sending your questions, sending in your comments, doing everything that you can for the Outlaw Nation Show. Please subscribe to the Outlaw Nation Show or Outlaw Nation channel right below you there. We just crossed 13,000 subscribers, I think, so we're climbing to that 20,000 subscriber mark. Please follow me on social media at The Rocha Says on Twitter and on Instagram, trying to climb above 20,000 on Twitter and above 35,000. I'm sorry, 20,000 on Instagram and 35,000 on Twitter. But more than anything else, please share the episode and tell people how much you enjoyed it. Because when you share the episode, you're telling your friends and family that you approve of this episode, you approve of this content, and because they love you, they'll take a chance on the content and they will join the nation. Raw, authentic, and unfiltered. That's the nation. That's where we are here on the Outlaw Nation. So thanks to all of you. And once again, we'll see you next time. And don't forget, tomorrow mornings with the Outlaw, with me live at 8:30 in the morning, talking about all this stuff that's going on in the world of entertainment. But next week, we're back for another brand new episode of the Outlaw Nation. Until then, take care of yourselves, be well, and stay strong. And hey, if you need a laugh, watch us on the Outlaw Nation Show for sure. Take care.